There's a $2 bottle found in the natural health section of almost every pharmacy across America that annihilates fungal infections at their source. It doesn't merely suppress symptoms or rely on prescription pills that strain your liver. This oil attacks the fungal cells directly, destroying them at the membrane level. A single application each day for 2 weeks is enough to permanently eliminate the fungus hiding in nails, on skin, and between toes. Indigenous Australians have utilized this remedy for over 10,000 years. In 1770, British naturalist Joseph Banks recorded the local healers applying it to treat infected wounds. By 1925, Australian chemist Arthur Penfold conducted laboratory tests, proving the oil was 13 times stronger than carbolic acid, the antiseptic benchmark of that era. Later, peer-reviewed research in the Journal of Antimicrobial Chemotherapy confirmed its ability to eradicate the fungi responsible for nail infections, athlete's foot, and other skin conditions, both in lab settings and in human trials. Today, the global antifungal market generates over $13 billion annually, with tennail fungus affecting more than 35 million Americans. Prescription antifungals like oral terbinopine cost between $200 and $400 for a single treatment course. Yet they can cause liver damage and fail to fully clear the infection in up to 40% of patients. Meanwhile, this $2 bottle, destroying fungal cell membranes at a molecular level, poses a threat to the billion-dollar antifungal industry. It wasn't abandoned because it was ineffective. It was simply too effective to profit from. The story begins with tea tree oil, the 10,000-year-old antifungal solution that was hidden from the mainstream by profit-driven industries. The continent is Australia. Roughly 10,000 years ago, Aboriginal people in what is now New South Wales cultivated deep knowledge of medicinal plants in their environment. Among these, a tree growing near freshwater lakes and streams along the eastern coast was especially revered. Its botanical name, later assigned by European taxonomists, is Melaleuca alternifolia. Aboriginal healers had their own names for it, and knew the oil extracted from its leaves held extraordinary healing powers. They crushed the leaves to apply the oil on wounds, inhaled steam from boiled leaves to relieve respiratory issues, and soaked infected skin in water infused with fallen leaves. This single plant was used to treat fungal infections, bacterial conditions, parasitic skin ailments, and inflammation. For 10,000 years, this knowledge was refined and transmitted through generations, carefully observed and preserved in oral traditions. Then, in 1770, the Endeavour arrived off Botany Bay. On board was Joseph Banks, a naturalist assigned to document Australia's flora and fauna. He witnessed Aboriginal healers crafting medicinal treatments from these leaves, collected samples, and returned them to Europe. His records were the first written Western account of tea tree oil's medicinal use, but the knowledge did not gain immediate traction. European medicine of the 18th century relied heavily on mineral compounds, mercury-based preparations, and familiar botanical extracts. An exotic Australian tree, no matter its potency, was merely a curiosity rather than a treatment priority. The turning point came in 1925 when Arthur Penfold, a chemist at the Museum of Applied Arts and Sciences in Sydney, performed a detailed chemical analysis of Melaleuca alternifolia leaf oil. The results were astonishing. It was 11 to 13 times more potent as an antiseptic than carbolic acid, the international standard at the time. Here was a natural, inexpensive solution, far surpassing conventional antiseptics. Penfold published his findings in the Journal and Proceedings of the Royal Society of New South Wales, catching the attention of the Australian medical community. During the 1930s and 40s, tea tree oil was stocked in first aid kits for Australian soldiers and sailors. Field surgeons relied on it to treat wounds in tropical conditions, where conventional antiseptics were scarce. It successfully combated fungal infections, bacterial skin infections, and the wounds that historically caused battlefield deaths before antibiotics were widespread. Then came penicillin, followed by the rise of the pharmaceutical and antifungal industries. Tea tree oil, the 10,000-year-old antimicrobial agent, was quietly sidelined. It wasn't ineffective, it simply wasn't profitable enough to commercialize on a massive scale. The science behind its effectiveness is straightforward. Unlike prescription antifungals that often fail, tea tree oil is a complex blend of roughly 100 different chemical compounds. The most studied and potent among them is terpenin 4-ol, which constitutes 30 to 48% of high-quality tea tree oil. This compound attacks fungal cells directly, disrupting their membranes and ensuring permanent eradication of the infection. Terpenin 4-ol is the main component responsible for the antimicrobial power Arthur Penfold documented back in 1925. Its method of killing fungi is radically different from conventional pharmaceutical antifungals. Drugs like terbinopine, fluconazole, and tetraconazole work by inhibiting a single enzyme in fungal cells known as squalene epoxidase. This enzyme is essential for producing ergosterol, which functions like cholesterol in fungal cell membranes. When the enzyme is blocked, ergosterol production halts, destabilizing the membrane, and the fungal cell dies. This precise mechanism, however, is a double-edged sword. Fungi can adapt. Applying a drug that targets only one enzyme creates evolutionary pressure. Strains with mutations in that enzyme survive and multiply, leaving the infection intact. This explains why prescription antifungals fail in up to 40% of toenail fungus cases even after a complete course. The fungi simply develop resistance. In contrast, terpenen 4-OL works through a fundamentally different process. It physically disrupts the fungal cell membrane. The compound integrates into the lipid bilayer, distorts the structural arrangement, increases membrane permeability, and causes cellular contents to leak. The fungus can no longer regulate ions, maintain internal chemistry, or produce energy. It dies. This is not a targeted enzyme inhibition. It is a total physical breakdown of the cell's protective barrier. Because of this, developing resistance is extremely difficult. A fungus cannot mutate its way to a membrane that is impervious to a surfactant compound. The membrane is the membrane. A study in 2013 published in the Journal of Antimicrobial Chemotherapy tested tea tree oil on terpenopine-resistant strains of Trichophyton rubrum, the primary cause of toenail infections. Tea tree oil successfully inhibited these resistant strains, whereas terpenopine failed. The fungus had outgrown pharmaceutical drugs, but could not overcome the physical membrane disruption caused by terpenine 4-OL. Further proof comes from a 1992 randomized controlled trial in the Journal of Family Practice. Researchers compared a 5% tea tree oil solution to 1% clotrimazole cream, a standard prescription antifungal, for treating toenail fungus. Both treatments achieved similar clinical and mycological results. The effectiveness was equivalent, yet tea tree oil cost $2 a bottle, while clotrimazole cost $40 to $60 per tube. Despite these findings, treatment guidelines remained unchanged. The stakes are enormous. The global antifungal market exceeds $13 billion annually. Nail fungus treatments alone, covering topical creams, oral medications, and medicated nail polishes, account for several billion of that sum. The industry rests on one assumption: fungal infections require expensive, prescription-based treatment, often repeated as resistance develops. Terpenopine, the most widely prescribed oral antifungal for toenail fungus, generates huge revenue. A standard course costs between $200 and $400, requires a physician visit, carries a black box warning for liver toxicity, and fails in up to 40% of cases, often necessitating a second round of treatment. Tea tree oil, by contrast, costs $2, needs no prescription, has no documented liver toxicity when applied topically, does not provoke resistance, and has clinical trials demonstrating effectiveness comparable to prescription antifungals. Terpenen 4-ol in its natural form cannot be patented. The Melaleuca alternifolia tree has existed in Australia for millions of years. No company can claim exclusive rights to its oil, meaning no pharmaceutical corporation has financial motivation to fund the large-scale clinical trials necessary to alter treatment guidelines. Changing guidelines requires evidence. Evidence requires trials. Trials require funding. Funding comes from entities with financial stakes. No one profits from a $2 unpatentable solution. So the trials never happened. Guidelines never shifted. Medical schools continue to teach prescription antifungals as the standard care. Dermatologists and podiatrists prescribe terpenopine, leading patients to spend $200 to $400 on a treatment that fails 4 out of 10 times. Meanwhile, the $2 bottle of tea tree oil sits on pharmacy shelves, unbranded for antifungal use. Making such claims without pharmaceutical-backed clinical submissions would violate FDA regulations. The knowledge exists, clinical evidence exists, the remedy exists. What is missing is a pathway from proven natural treatment to official medical guidelines without millions in corporate investment. This is by design, not coincidence. Yet the knowledge never vanished. It survived in naturopathic practices, integrative dermatology, and among patients who discovered it themselves after conventional treatments failed. The clinical literature supporting tea tree oil is substantial. In 1994, the Australasian Journal of Dermatology reported that a 50% tea tree oil solution was as effective as 1% clotrimazole cream in treating athlete's foot. A 2002 study in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology found that a 2% bufonazole and 5% tea tree oil cream completely cured 80% of patients with toenail fungus after 16 weeks of treatment. A systematic review published in 2006 in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine analyzed the entire body of clinical evidence supporting the antimicrobial applications of tea tree oil. Researchers reviewing the available studies concluded that tea tree oil demonstrates effective therapeutic action against a wide range of fungi and bacteria, while maintaining a safety profile superior to most pharmaceutical options. For decades, integrative dermatologists and naturopathic practitioners applying evidence-based natural medicine have reported successful outcomes using tea tree oil protocols. In Melbourne, a podiatrist began recommending these protocols to patients with toenail fungus in 2010 after a thorough review of the Australian research. Across 5 years of patient follow-up, his documented cure rates using tea tree oil matched those published for oral terbinopine, without the need for liver monitoring, prescriptions, or dealing with resistance issues that often undermine pharmaceutical treatments, all from a $2 bottle. The chemistry of the oil remains unchanged simply because a pharmaceutical company did not fund the research to prove it. Here is the practical approach. Obtain 100% pure tea tree oil. Avoid diluted blends or scented products claiming tea tree fragrance. Look specifically for Melaleuca alternifolia oil with listed terpenin-4-ol content. For antifungal effectiveness, the oil should contain at least 30% terpenin-4-ol. Premium tea tree oil with 40 to 48% terpenin-4-ol is available from reputable Australian suppliers and trusted health retailers. A 15 milliliter bottle ranges from $8 to $15. With 1 to 2 applications per day, a 15 milliliter bottle lasts about 30 to 45 days. Your treatment cost per day is roughly 20 to 30 cents. For toenail fungus, start by thoroughly cleaning and drying the affected nail and surrounding skin. Using a cotton swab or a clean dropper, apply the pure tea tree oil directly over the entire nail, working it under the nail edge if possible. Allow the oil to air dry completely. Do not cover the nail with socks or a bandage for at least 15 minutes after application. Repeat this routine twice daily, morning and evening. For athlete's foot or other skin fungal infections, clean and dry the area first. Apply the pure oil directly with a cotton ball. For sensitive skin, dilute the tea tree oil with an equal amount of coconut oil, which not only reduces irritation, but adds antifungal properties through lauric acid. Apply twice a day. Vaginal or oral fungal infections require extreme dilution and professional guidance. Do not use undiluted tea tree oil on mucous membranes. Topical applications target external fungal infections, including nail fungus, athlete's foot, ringworm, and other skin infections. Visible improvement for athlete's foot and superficial skin infections is typically reported within 7 to 14 days of consistent twice daily use, with full resolution in 3 to 4 weeks. Toenail fungus takes longer due to slow nail growth. Fungus elimination occurs within 4 to 8 weeks of consistent application, but visual confirmation of healthy nail growth takes 3 to 6 months, depending on individual nail growth rate. Treatment is effective when new nail growth is clear and healthy, while the infected nail is gradually replaced. Do not stop treatment once healthy nail growth begins. Continue until the entire nail is grown out. The total investment for a complete toenail treatment course is approximately $30 to $40 for 3 to 4 months of twice daily application. Compare this to a single course of oral terbinopine at $200 to $400 with no liver toxicity, no resistance development, and a mechanism validated by multiple independent clinical trials. The accumulated therapeutic knowledge spans 10,000 years, observed and recorded by Aboriginal healers, confirmed by a government chemist in 1925, deployed by military surgeons during the Second World War, and validated in peer-reviewed medical journals. Yet it still sits on pharmacy shelves without antifungal labeling because no pharmaceutical company will fund the clinical submission for a claim that cannot generate profit. Terpenin-4-ol destroys fungal cell membranes, carries no patent, requires no prescription, and has no quarterly earnings projections. For 10,000 years, fungal infections have been treatable with a simple $2 substance. The chemistry hasn't changed. The industry built around expensive alternatives has. $13 billion in annual antifungal revenue relies on 35 million Americans choosing prescriptions over a $2 bottle of tea tree oil. This is not a conspiracy. It is arithmetic. If this perspective shifts how you view the fungus that has been living in your nail for years, or the $2 bottle waiting in the health aisle near the pharmacy counter, share this information. Each share challenges the wall of billions spent to obscure knowledge that belongs to no corporation. The evidence survives through naturopathic practices. Integrative Med. Please leave your thoughts about this content in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.